ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्.
Today we are going to cover a very important concept of any object-oriented language, and that is called as inheritance. Whenever you're talking about object-oriented languages, it's not only Java, it can be C#, your Smalltalk, your C object-oriented language, okay? Whenever you say that your language supports object orientation, there are four main principles which your language should follow. One of them is inheritance, encapsulation, abstraction, and polymorphism. These four objects or these four principles are very, very important for any language to follow. Now let's understand, what do you mean by inheritance? By the very word itself, inheritance means to inherit. Inherit means something you get free of cost. You have not worked hard for it. In the same manner, if we have a class who has got functionality in it, okay, like this subscriber class of ours, which has got two methods. One is make call, the other is receive call. A normal class which has got functionality in it. Now suppose if the other class wants to use the functionality of that class, or if I want to create another class and I want to say that I want to use the functionality of subscriber, I want to inherit that functionality, I want to use that functionality as if it is my own functionality, then what I need to do? I need to become the son or the daughter of this subscriber class. That means there should be a parent and a child relationship between the two classes in order that one class should inherit all the functionality of the other class. Same like the son of an IAS officer. Okay? What did he do? He did nothing. But he got the money, he got the assets. Why? Because he was having a relation, a father and a son relation with that particular officer. In the same manner, now if I want to create a class and I want to say that I want to inherit the functionality of make call, I want to inherit the functionality of receive call, the simple thing is not copying these methods into my class, but I am going to get attached, or I am going to become the son or the daughter of my subscriber class. So by definition, whenever a class wants to acquire the functionality of another class, it becomes the subclass of the base class or the class mentioned, and the only thing it has got to do is inherit all that functionality into your code or into your class. So if you want to acquire the functionality of another class, all you need to do is extend from that class and become a subclass or become a child class of your base class or of your parent class. Okay? So now over here we are going to create another class called as a wireless subscriber. A person who has got a mobile is called as a wireless subscriber. Okay? So can you go to the wireless subscriber, new, or create a wireless subscriber, Java, WLS, wireless subscriber, that's it. Now here I am going to say that, no, only WLS. That's fine. Just remove this public static void main. Okay. Now, this wireless subscriber, how a wireless subscriber is different from a subscriber? I have the functionality to send an SMS, or I have the functionality to receive an SMS. Okay. So I'm going to add two methods over here. Public void send SMS, public void receive SMS. Okay, just write system.out.println, send SMS call, system.out.println, send SMS call, and repeat this thing for receive SMS. Send SMS and receive SMS. Now here, if you notice that this, before we go to the wireless subscriber, when does a person becomes a subscriber? Let's talk from a very basic thing. Understand what a base class means, understand what a derived class means. A base class is nothing but the parent class, a derived class is nothing but the child class. Now let's go from the very beginning and try and understand this. When does a person become a subscriber? Whenever I purchase a telephone, or whenever I get a telephone connection, I become a subscriber. What is the basic thing when you become or whenever you subscribe for a telephone connection, what is the basic thing required? You have got to give your name to that person, and that person is going to give you your telephone number. Same is depicted in our class called as subscriber. If you see, go to subscriber. Here I have the name of the person who applied for your telephone connection, and the number, that is your mobile device number. I have declared one integer which is going to take your number. So when I go to a telephone company and I say that I need a telephone connection, he is going to ask me my name and give me a mobile device number. Now here I did not specify that I want a landline connection or I want a wireless connection. I did not specify that. I am saying that I am applying only for a telephone connection. Whenever I apply for a telephone connection, I can do both the things. I can make a call from that device. I can receive a call from that device. Okay? Now, earlier when mobiles were not there, whenever I write this subscriber class, people used to think that, okay, she's talking about the landline phone, where you can make a call and you can receive a call. Only that was the whole and sole purpose of your landline phone. Now later, wireless phone came into existence. Okay, they say that we have got a small device from which you can make a call, you can receive a call, you can send an SMS, you can receive an SMS, you can set a ringtone, you can access your internet through your mobile phone, and there are millions of functionality which is going to be there if you purchase a mobile phone. But whenever I am saying that, the basic principle is, or the basic necessity of a mobile phone is, I should be able to make a call, I should be able to receive a call. Now, if I want to compile or if I want to create a class for a mobile phone, I need to include all these features. Send SMS, receive SMS, make a call, receive a call, and then access internet, disconnect internet, copy your ringtones, upload your photos, and all the functionality which I want to add, I would put that into this particular class called as wireless class. Now, a person comes and looks at my class and he tells, oh, your class looks good, you have perfectly coded your class, but there is a problem in it. I would ask him, what is the problem? It is working fine, it is absolutely correct. He will ask me, or he will tell me, here you have written a method called as make call and receive call. It is not needed, it is not required. Then I would tell him, are you crazy? The basic functionality of a mobile phone is to make a call and receive a call. If I don't have these methods in my class, there is no use of writing this class. Then he would tell me, oh, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Instead of writing the functionality all over again, there is already a class called as subscriber available for you, which has got the functionality of making a call and receiving a call. Then I would tell him, oh, is that so? Then if the functionality is there, I should not trouble my mind by writing make call functionality and by writing receive call functionality. If that functionality is there, I should go and use that functionality. Now this person is going to tell me, oh, if you want to use that functionality, you have to establish a relationship with your subscriber class, and then only you can be using the functionality of the subscriber class. Then I would ask him, okay, is that so? Then what should I do? I don't know how to create a relationship. Then he would say that if you are using Java, then there is a very simple way to create a relationship between the two classes. One class would become a parent class, the other class would become a child class. In order that the wireless subscriber, can you go here? In order that the wireless subscriber takes all the functionality of the subscriber, I would write over here, class wireless subscriber extends. Extends is like a birth given, okay, to a derived class from the base class. This word or this keyword is very, very important. It tells you that your wireless class has become a child to your subscriber class. So the moment I say class WLS extends from subscriber, I need to rub or erase the functionality which I have written, and now without any headache I can just copy the functionality of the subscriber and reuse it. Okay, so what does inheritance provide you? Inheritance is telling you, see boss, don't write the same thing again and again and again and again. Don't reinvent the wheel. If the wheel is already there, utilize your time in making something special. Utilize your time in making a car, not inventing the wheel again and again. Which means if you have a base class which is giving you general concept or your general functionality, what you need to do is you need to write a specialized class, or you need to write a different class which will use the basic functionality and provide new features to that, like how we have done it for subscriber and for your WLS. So whenever you are, or whenever you want to create an application, you have got to think about it. What different classes would you want to create? Out of all these different classes, which class is, or which are the different classes which is going to perform the same work? I'll give you an example. Suppose I want to create an organization. In that organization, I want to have a teacher, I want to have a doctor, I want to have a gardener, I want to have a student. Okay, so I am saying that, see boss, I want to create an application called as organization, and in this organization I should have a teacher, a student, a dancer and doctor, okay, a doctor, a dancer, a skater, okay, all these people I need in my organization. Okay, so now what I would do, I would write the code for teacher, what all things a teacher can do. Can teach, okay, a singer can sing, a doctor can do your checkup, a dancer can dance, a skater can skate. Okay, now these are nothing but the things or the methods in which these classes specialize. A teacher is a specialized trainer. The work of the teacher is to teach. This particular S stands for what over here? Singer. Okay, a singer is trained to sing. A doctor is trained to check a person. A dancer is trained to dance, and a skater is designed, or not designed, a skater is designed to skate. Okay, but below this lies the bottom line. All these people are human people. All these people have some common characteristics in them, and those common characteristics are, they can walk, they can talk. Okay, so I can walk, I can talk, I can smile, I can cry, I can laugh, all those things. Now, whenever I am saying this, walk, talk, I have to repeat all these methods in each of the class. instead of doing this, I am going to create only one class called as person, and what all the basic functionality of all these professionals is. That is, I can talk, I can walk, I can smile, I can cry, I can laugh. All this basic functionality I am going to put into this class called as person, so that there is no need for me to write the code here, 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 here. I am going to reuse my code in all these classes, and these classes would only have the code in which they specialize. Or if I want to have additional functionality apart from being a person, only then I am going to create a class. Okay? So in order to reuse, or in order to use the functionality of this person who can walk, cry, talk, what I need to do, I need to establish a relationship, and I would say teacher has been extended from a person. A teacher, apart from teaching, can do all these basic functionalities. Similarly, for all these professionals, though they are professionals, the basic thing is they are humans also. They can perform all these activities. So instead of repeating the code, I am going to put all the common code into the base class, and all the specialized codes or all the specialized code into these classes, and these classes are called as the derived class. So whenever I am talking about any class, the class can be either a base class or a derived class. A base class is also called as the generalized class, where you have everything in general. There is no specific feature for that particular class. But whenever we are talking about the derived class, apart from having all the features in the base class, will introduce some new thing, or is going to introduce some new functionality to your entire application. Okay? So now I am saying my wireless subscriber is a subscriber also. That means I can have all the functionality what a subscriber can have. Okay? Does that make clear? Now let's go and see how do we create objects of the base class and how do we create the objects of the derived class. Okay? So now put main into this only. Don't create another class. Okay, after line number 9, write system.out.println, sorry, public static void main. Public static void main. Okay, the main is going to take your strings. Don't forget to use that. Otherwise, your JVM would never ever treat it as a main method at all. Okay, now here I am going to say subscriber S equal to new subscriber. Okay, then I would say S dot make call, S dot receive call. So now over here, I am creating a subscriber object and invoking these methods make call and receive call on them. Now I am going to create a object of a derived class. Okay, so say WLS W equal to new WLS. Okay, now I have been going on repeating and telling you that derived class can access base class. Derived class can inherit the functionality of base class. What does it actually mean? It means that whenever you are creating your wireless object, at that time you say w.sendSMS. Okay, will this compile? Yes, definitely it will compile. Why? Because send SMS is there in your WLS class. Then you say w.receive SMS. Will this compile? Yes, definitely. Why? Because your receive SMS is also there in your WLS class. Now you say w.send SMS. Oh, sorry, I'm so sorry. Now you say w.receive make call. Now, here, what would happen? Do you have make call in this wireless subscriber class? No, you do not have. Then too, your compiler is going to compile this code because make call is the method from your base class. Okay? When you say that you have extended from a base class, the derived class obtains all the functionality, or the derived class inherits all the functionality of the base class. So with the help of my derived class object 2, I can invoke make call, I can invoke receive call. So say w dot receive call. Okay. Now we will just compile this and see whether we will get any error or it runs smoothly. Okay, now go to your command prompt, javac star.java, so that everything will get compiled at one shot. Star.java, okay, Java WLS. Okay, so this make call is getting called with the help of the subscriber object. This receive call is getting called with the help of subscriber object, but this make call and this receive call is getting called by whom? It is getting called by your derived class. Okay? So now, go back. Over here, this line is very, very important. WLSW equal to new WLS. What happens over here? Here, a derived class object is getting created. If a derived class object is only the derived class object getting created over here? No. Whenever you create an object of a derived class, an object of your base class is also getting created. Okay? Now you will tell me, we don't believe you. So in order to show you the proof, we are going to include constructors in both the classes, in your subscriber as well as in your wireless subscriber. Now, as you people know, when is a constructor invoked? A constructor is invoked whenever a new object is getting created. Okay? So now in subscriber, I am going to write a constructor saying that public subscriber, or just remove public because your class is not public. So public subscriber, and just write system.out.println subscriber constructor called. System.out.println subscriber constructor called. Constructor called. Okay. Now, so repeat the same thing for your wireless subscriber also. Okay. Create a constructor, a default constructor, WLS. Okay, system.out.println wireless subscriber constructor called. Now here, when we compile this, at that time, if you look at the code, can you tell me how many subscriber objects are going to get created and how many wireless subscriber objects are going to get created? Can you please scroll down? Just show them the main. See here, we are only creating two objects. One is your derived class object, the other is your base class object. Now, when you create or whenever you are running this application, at that time, three objects are getting created. Out of these three, two of them are subscriber objects and one of them is your derived class object. Why? Because whenever a derived class object is getting created, your base class object is also getting created. Okay? How do we know that the base class object is getting created? Because the constructor of the base class is always invoked when you are creating a derived class object. Okay? So say WLS. So first, subscriber constructor called because we were creating the subscriber object ourselves. Then make call, receive call. Now here, from this line number, what did we do? We only said WLSW equal to new WLS, which is nothing but, it's okay. Whenever the constructor of the wireless was getting called, first the base class constructor or the base class object gets created, the constructor of the base class object is getting called, then your wireless object is getting created, and then your wireless object constructor is getting called. This is the sequence in order to create your derived class object, and then you are invoking all these methods over here. Okay, so go back. This is all about how inheritance is established between two classes and how a derived class extends from a subscriber, how a derived class extends from the base class and inherits all the functionality of the base class. In this session we also studied about whenever a constructor is invoked or whenever an object of the derived class is getting created, the constructor of your base class is also invoked and the base class object is also getting created. Okay, so now we will make some changes over here. Do one thing, go to subscriber. Now here create one more, don't create one more thing, write over here string. Instead of providing a default constructor, I am converting the default constructor of a subscriber to a parameterized constructor, and here I would say string s. Now at the time of creating the object, I am supplying the name to that particular subscriber. So just say name equal to, say name equal to s. Okay, now go back to your program, don't do anything else, go back to your program. We have got both the things, or do you have both this, remove this because we don't have a parameterized constructor now. Come down, scroll up, delete that completely, delete line number 15 and 16. Okay, now we are creating a wireless object over here on line number 50. Let's try and compile this. It did not get compiled. Why? Because see over here, look at the error. You should be able to read the error and understand what the problem with your code is. It says, I am unable to find the symbol. What symbol? Subscriber. Empty parenthesis. Did we give this in our code? We did not give this in our code. So where did it come from? Here comes the keyword super. Okay, there is another keyword in your Java dictionary which is called as super. What does this super means? Super is nothing but a reference variable for your base class. If you could just make a note in your, go to subscriber or write it over here in the notes form only. Write it as a comment. Okay, the keyword super is a reference to the base class, refers to the base class. The keyword super refers to the base class. Just remove your is a, ये delete कर दो is a. Delete this. Yeah, it is not a proper sentence. The keyword super refers to the base class. Now what is happening over here? Just look at this thing very carefully. As a compiler or as a JVM, I look at this at the time of compilation. I see WLSW equal new WLS. What is this particular part? It is nothing but a call to a constructor. Call to which constructor? Call to your derived class constructor. Let's have a look at the derived class constructor. Scroll up. Scroll up. Now I come over here. Okay. Here I see my derived class I see my derived class constructor. I enter over here. Now here I am looking for my base class constructor. How do I know about it? Because whenever you are talking about constructors, the first line of the constructor, okay, be it any class, it can be your subscriber, it can be your object, it can be any ABC class which you have created. Whenever you enter the constructor, the first line to the constructor is always super. You write it or you don't write it, it does not matter. But the body of the constructor says my first line would always be super empty parenthesis, which means what? Whenever a derived class constructor is invoked, first of all, I am going to call the base class constructor. The base class constructor is going to get executed, then I am going to get executed. Same performance you saw at the command prompt. Can you show the command prompt? Here, what was happening? First, the subscriber class or first the base class constructor was getting called and then the wireless constructor was getting called. Why is this so? Because the moment I came to the wireless constructor, the first line of the constructor was super. What does super mean? Super is telling him or super is telling the wireless subscriber class, see boss, in order that you want me to run your constructor, first of all, you should call your base class constructor. Who is the base class of your wireless? Subscriber. Subscriber constructor should be invoked first. Okay. Now, he goes and the signature of super is empty parenthesis. I will replace this with subscriber. I would go in search for the subscriber default constructor in the subscriber class. Will I find any? No. Why? Because we have changed the constructor of subscriber from default subscriber to a parameterized subscriber. So here I did not find that symbol and that is why I am giving an error saying that, see boss, I did not find any symbol with subscriber, no parenthesis, empty parenthesis, so I cannot compile further. How can you overcome this error? Either include a subscriber constructor into your subscriber class or change the call to the super. Here you give it or you don't give it, super, default constructor of the super is getting called. So here I am going to change this and say I don't want to invoke I don't want to invoke my default constructor, I want to invoke my parameterized constructor and I am going to say over here Namita. Okay, so if you could just change here, the call of the super I have changed it. I am giving an overloaded super method and I am saying I don't want to call super just like that, but I am going to pass a parameter and the name of the parameter is a string or I am passing a string to it. Now if I compile it, will it compile? Definitely it has to compile, okay, because I am not using the super, default super line ever. Okay, now just say it got compiled. Now say Java WLS. Your subscriber constructor got called. This was the one with the parameter. Then your derived class constructor got called. Okay. Go back. So here you have to remember that whenever you enter the constructor, super is the first line of the constructor. Super refers to your base class. Now you would ask me, ma'am, if super refers to my base class, by using super, can I call make call or can I call receive call of the subscriber? Yes, definitely you can do that. If I say over here, go down. No, go down in main, in your main. Okay, instead of saying w dot make call and w dot receive call, I will delete these two, and instead of w I will say super dot make call. It's one and the same thing. Instead of using your subscriber reference variable, I am using my super reference variable. Super is nothing but pointing to my subscriber only. That's it. Okay, do receive call also. Fine. Now just save this and compile it. Okay. It's a static thing. You see, again, here you have got to understand. This is a very important concept. What is super? It is a reference variable. Okay. Now, what is main? Main is a static method. What is the feature of the static method? Static method, whenever you are declaring a static method, you cannot use instance variables or you cannot use reference variables over there. You have to use static variables only. Okay? So here, whenever I am talking about super, super is nothing but a reference variable of whom? Of the subscriber class. Okay? So I cannot use this super over here because in your static methods, you cannot use your reference variables. You've got to use only which variables? Your static variables. Okay, so you can cut this. You can add a method over here, public void m1, which is calling public void m1. Okay, which is calling both of them, s dot make call, s dot receive call. Okay, and now you can say w dot m1. Okay. Yeah, now compile it. Because, see, now it got compiled. Super is a reference variable. It is not, apart from being a reference variable, it is a non-static variable. And non-static variables can never be called from a static context. Okay. Now, make call called, receive call called. How are you calling this make call and receive call? You are making use of your super keyword. Okay, now go back. So, in this session, what we have covered, we have seen that whenever a derived class object is created, a base class object is called. In the constructor, the first line of the constructor is your super. Suppose if you do not have a default constructor of your base class, then you need to override the call to the super and provide the super with suitable arguments. Okay, I hope this is clear. Now, at this point, I hope you know what do you mean by a base class, what do you mean by a derived class. I think you guys can even compile or create a base class, create a derived class, then create an object of a base class, create an object of a derived class. After creating the object of the derived class, give a parameterized constructor or provide a parameterized constructor to your base class, and then whenever you are creating your derived class object, make sure that you override your super call. We have studied what does super mean, how super is used in order to call your base class constructors, how to overload your super, as well as using your super variable, how can you invoke methods of your base class. That would all be for today. We'll continue in the next lecture.